Sports Buzz is here to take all calls and answer all questions about your favorite team, coach, or player, local, regional, and national. Sports Buzz, taking calls and kicking game.
Good evening, everyone. Welcome to the Sunday Sports Buzz presented by livingforless.org, Louisville's only live TV sports talk show. We're here every Sunday night from 11 to 12, and your first place to react to the sports events of the weekend. And what a weekend it was. 2 national title games coming up after 2 Final Four victories for the Cardinals, both in the men's and the women's. I'm your host, Greg Brom. Joining me tonight, the host of Inside the Press Box on 1450 and the founder of the CardinalConnect.com, Nick Coffey. 2 weeks in a row, my friend. Good to have you.
I'm happy to be here, very excited. I couldn't think of a better time to be covering Louisville, 2 teams playing for a championship in the next couple days. It almost seems unreal.
It really is almost unreal. And if you think about the Louisville Athletics, and even back to December, or think a year back, before Louisville made that run in the Big East tournament, if you'd have told anybody a year from now you're going to be going on your second Final Four appearance, playing for a national title in men's basketball after winning the Sugar Bowl, and the women will be playing either Connecticut or Notre Dame. Looks like Connecticut was winning at last glance for a national title. You'd be going to the ACC. You'd be kept your. I mean, the scenario is Hollywood wouldn't even take it as a script,
especially in the last 3 months, because it all started with the ACC. And you got to throw in the Charlie Strong turning down Tennessee to stay with Louisville was also kind of, you got to throw that in there as well, because that was a big deal. I mean, that's something that we'll remember for a very long time. But it like I said, it seems unreal. The run for the football program, that they're going to continue. That it seems like their future looks even more brighter than it has been recently. In basketball, both teams having a chance to play for a national championship. If you go back a year ago, like you said, I don't know. I think a lot of fans thought it could happen, but I think looking back a year ago, I would think you probably would say we might need a little luck for it to all fall in place, but here we are.
Absolutely. Let's talk first about the men's game last night. Louisville survives, and that's, I think, the best way to describe it.
Absolutely.
Against Wichita State, 72-68. The number 9 seed Shockers about shocked the number 1 overall seed in the tournament, and down 12 with 13 minutes left. I know where I was watching the game, Nick, everyone was about this close to just accepting defeat, really. And you could see, I think, even the body language of the players. While they know they've done it before, I think you could kind of tell they were asking themselves, where's it going to come from tonight? And lo and behold, it comes from Tim Henderson. He turned the entire tide, Nick. 2 huge threes from Tim Henderson. And don't you think, from that moment on, Louisville believed they were going to win?
No question. I mean, it was Christian Academy's finest. It was the Tim Henderson show. He you knew his role was going to be increased with Kevin Ware out. There's no question. And I think Tim Henderson, and I've said this all season, I think he's a lot better than people give him credit for, because if you go to the practices, you go to the red and white scrimmages, he doesn't stand out much, which that's a good thing. He's a walk-on who you're not going to lose a whole lot, but how much is he really going to give you? And he gave him a lot last night, and had Kevin Ware been healthy and had he been playing, I'm not sure if he knocks down those shots that Tim Henderson did. And it's a guy who, I think when he walks around the city of Louisville, there's probably times where if you're not a diehard, you might not know this guy plays on the team. Now in the locker room today with the media, the 2-hour media session, his locker's crowded with everybody.
He may be more famous than Kevin Ware.
He's taking Kevin Ware's spotlight.
Next week for Tim Henderson. 2-3, and really, Wichita State up 12. They shot the air ball on the free throw on the front end of a 1-on-1, which even then you're kind of thinking, oh, maybe that's something that we can turn into something. Boom, Henderson. They missed the front end of another 1-on-1. Boom, Henderson. After that, cutting it to 6, team believing the guy who maybe for the first time was the best player on the team, as Rick Pitino said, Luke Hancock, 20 points in the game. He took over, and really, he was the leader.
No, he's a guy who, I'll be honest with you, I owe him an apology, because earlier on this season, he had his, he was shooting bad, and it was affecting his entire game, not just, shooting defense, passing, making some poor decisions. And in the last month, you know, you credit the entire bench that's come through for Louisville, including guys like Kevin Ware, Montrezl Harrell, Stephen Ventries. The way they've played has had a big part of why Louisville's been so successful. But Luke Hancock in the last few games, he's just, especially last night, that was his moment. That was the moment. That's when you think back to Rick Pitino telling us he's the best player on the team. Who knows if that's still true at this point, but he was the best player on the court last night at a perfect time. And you got to give a lot of credit to Wichita State for what they did. I thought they threw a great game plan at Louisville. They played pretty much the dare you to shoot defense, and it really kind of razzled Louisville, and they weren't able to get, because they were playing so bad offensively and not hitting shots. I think that affected their full court pressure, which led to Wichita State having a pretty good game. But Luke Hancock, you know, without him and Tim Henderson, I think we're talking about Wichita State playing for a championship.
Well, you know, and Luke Hancock, I think people, you know, Luke hit 3 threes in a game, but it wasn't his three-point shooting that really, I think, was the difference. It was the way he was able to take it to the rim.
Sure.
We've seen Siva do it. We've seen Russ do it throughout the tournament. Wichita State, like you said, packing it in, wanting Louisville to shoot from outside, and Louisville was taking the bait.
Sure.
At least Peyton was taking the bait for a long time. And here comes Luke in, and he's coming off the pick and roll, and he's saying, lower my head, I'm going to the rim. And he was able to get there. And I wish Peyton...
And finish.
I wish Peyton would have just lowered his head a little bit more and said, you know what, I'm taking it regardless if they're packing it in. And because you were getting kind of a whistle. They were whistling everything.
Sure.
But I think the difference was Luke, and we're looking at some video right now, how about Luke drawing fouls on the perimeter?
He's been pretty good at that this season for sure.
Absolutely. But I think it was Luke taking it to the rim.
No, and he's a guy who I think, if you follow the scouting report, you probably don't think that's what he's going to do. And I think he noticed that maybe they were just only respecting his jump shot, and he said, okay, I can get a first step around this guy, and I'm going to get to the rim. Not only did he get to the rim and get fouled, he was able to finish as well. And guys like Peyton Stephen, Russ Smith, I thought if that's the approach, it would be a field day for them getting to the rim, like they did again. We said in these exact same seats a week ago today about what changed it for Louisville against Duke is Peyton Stephen, Russ Smith got to the rim, and they for some reason couldn't really do that against Wichita State, and they're clearly going to have to play better. And I don't want to get too far ahead to Michigan. I know we're going to get there, but those guys are clearly going to have to play better tomorrow night if Louisville wants to cut down those nets.
Well, I tell you what, you lose Ware, so there's a key bench player, but man, the bench won the game.
Sure.
And the starters, 4 starters the first half didn't score. I mean, the bench and the depth has been huge. We'll talk more about the Harrells, the Van Treeses, the contributions they made. And if you think, Nick, and if our audience thinks that Gorgie's going to bounce back, Shane's going to bounce back, even Wayne coming and getting some productivity from Wayne as well. But I want to ask everyone a question as we head to break. 2 title games. Do the Cards sweep? Do they split? Or is it 0 for 2? Give us a call, 964-2121, the Oxmoor Ford Lincoln Buzz Line. This is the Sunday Sports Buzz presented by livingforless.org.
Sports Buzz will return after these messages from our sponsors.
The Bluegrass Golf Tour card. You get to play 8 great golf courses one time for one incredible price. A $450 value for only $149. That's less than $20 a round, and that includes the card. Get yours right now.
Hi, I'm Jim Weeks. At MaxCare, no project is too big. We have the capabilities to handle the smallest residential project to the largest commercial undertaking. We even clean big houses like this one. And everyone has been abuzz about our amazing 4 areas for $99 special. We want to let everyone know that MaxCare also cleans upholstery, ceramic tile, and air ducts. We also install and refinish hardwood floors dust-free. MaxCare, locally owned and family operated. Give us a call, 636-4629.
When you look back on a lifetime, you remember the things that sometimes you may have felt like they did not make a great difference. And then you realize the legacy you have created is more than you ever imagined. However you want your legacy remembered, we can help. You'll be remembered and honored at Louisville's newest memorial park, Crosswater Gardens Cemetery and Memorial Park, helping people just like you display their legacy for generations.
Hey, Jenny Merriman here from 21 Live, and it's a fresh new year, and we have fresh new deals for you. Everything that you need for 2013 from head to toe, literally. You can find it all the time if you stop by our website, shop21live.com. We know that you have New Year's resolutions. Maybe you're off course. We've got all the best deals from Kentuckiana. Get you back on track, so check out our website, shop21live.com, and of course, watch us here on ION Saturday mornings at 10.
The Bluegrass Golf Tour Card. You get to play 8 great golf courses one time for one incredible price. A $450 value for only $149. That's less than $20 a round, and that includes the card. Get yours right now.
Welcome back to the Sunday Sports Bus presented by livingforless.org. We're here every Sunday night from 11 to 12. We want to acknowledge one of our new sponsors, Higdon's Paint and Ladder. Over 300 ladders in stock, extension ladders from 16 to 60 feet, step ladders from 2 to 21 feet. Call Higdon's Paint and Ladder at 448-7907. And the UConn Huskies, they don't get swept 4 games by Notre Dame. They win in the national semifinal 83-65. So the Louisville women will play UConn, the multiple national champion, Gino Auriemma, juggernaut. Hey, if you're going to win the title, you got to take out the champ. And UConn's the big dog.
They've got some a pretty overwhelming front court, which if you watch the game today, Cal, they had the same thing, and that gave Louisville a lot of trouble. They were able to get through that, but it was really tough to watch them early on. The size advantage that Cal had, Sarah Hammond did the best she could, but clearly just the size was a big issue, and I think it's going to be the same issue on Tuesday night for Louisville.
I tell you what, it was a kind of a carbon copy, I think, of the men's game in many ways, because Louisville looked like, they were falling a little bit further behind as the game went on, and it looked like, boy, they just don't have it tonight. Shoney was not hitting. Who's going to step up? And, I think Slaughter had a huge night. She hit 6 threes in the game. Bria Smith. Hammond did come on at the end of the game.
Yeah.
And it just like the men, the women took the game at the end at clutch time. They took it. It's
very similar to yesterday's game, which is ironic because you had the very lackluster first half. Terrible shot selection from Shoney, which is okay. I'm fine with that.
I love the behind-the-back pass.
Yeah, that was slick. It was the Schimmel show on that one. But overall, bad first half with shooting, got out-rebounded, got into some early foul trouble. But sure enough, in the second half, they were able to knock down some shots, get some big stops defensively, and that's really how they got back. Sarah Hammond did come in when she was, I know she got in foul trouble in the first half, and when she came back out there, she really played well, and it was just, like you mentioned, they just took it from them.
We talked a little bit about Wichita State and the strategy they employed in the game. Had a good game plan. They sagged in, wanted Louisville to shoot from outside. They were able to pound it in on the Louisville big guys, and Gorgie really wasn't much of a factor as a presence around the rim at all. But you know what? I know Rick's on fire. He's looking to become the first coach to win titles at 2 different schools. But at the beginning of the game yesterday, I almost thought that Louisville played a bit defensively, maybe a little bit into Wichita's hands. Mm-hmm. Because there was no press. It was a rather passive zone,
very passive,
allowing Wichita to kind of throw the ball around at will and be patient. I think he was afraid to get in foul trouble, but I thought it played into their hands a bit. Louisville's better when it's hectic.
Absolutely, and it was a game where I thought that it lacked some intensity from Louisville's part. They didn't go out there and actually control the tempo. A lot of that had to do with just missing shots. When you're missing as many shots as they did, it was tough to get into your press. But I thought maybe it was a mental thing. Maybe they thought because with Ware being gone, maybe Russ Smith and Peyton Siva can't afford to get into foul trouble. So maybe they tried to just not play as aggressive. But as you mentioned, you were telling me before the show started, they have to do that, not just contesting shots, but as you say, contesting dribbles, causing havoc, making it uncomfortable for 40 minutes on the floor. And you didn't see that at any point yesterday.
Wichita was not uncomfortable in the first part of the game. And really, contest every dribble, not just every shot, because that is what really wears out an opponent. Second half, I think they just said, well, we're losing. We got to go after them now. And I think it was 7 possessions. Wichita State had 5 turnovers in 7 possessions. They're going to call Louisville for fouls anyway, so you might as well press. You're going to get the whistles. Hopefully tomorrow night, Nick, they do not blow a tight whistle. We don't want to see the stars of these two teams then there's a lot of stars on Michigan. I don't want to see him on the bench with foul trouble.
This might sound silly to say, but even if it is a tight whistle, I think this is a game where you can't change what you do. Don't change what got you there. If it's a tight whistle, continue to play recklessly defensively, take those gambles, and I think that's what you have to do. I mean, you're not going to be saving Peyton Siva for another game. This is the last game. The thought of those guys being, and I mean, if you've got a guy with 3 fouls in the first half, you obviously want to rest him a little bit, you know, to where you can come back in later. But don't let the whistle change what you have to do. I know I always say, you know, you have to adjust to it. But in a game like this, I think that if you do try to change what you do, it could end up on, you know, in the losing
Yeah,
end.
we're watching Russ right now. I mean, he got called for a foul on that play. I mean, you know what? That's what Russ does. I guess you can call it a foul, but
Let Russ be Russ.
I let Russ be Russ. He's fine. He had 5 turnovers. He missed 7 free throws in the game.
As uncharacteristic as it gets for him.
Absolutely. I mean, you knew something was off when Russ is missing free throws.
He's broke the record this year for most free throws made in a single season, which is, you know, to see him go to the line, miss his first 4 in a row.
A guy like that getting to the line
it's
as
just,
much as he does.
yeah.
It really is amazing. Let's go to our callers on the Oxmoor Ford Lincoln Buzz line. Rick, you're up.
Yeah, buddy.
Hey, bud.
Yeah, I think both teams are going to sweep it. I really do. I think, as a matter of fact, I think we're going to have an easier time with Michigan than we did with Wichita State. I was screaming at the TV yesterday for our guys to take it on the inside. Go on the. You're not hitting the outside shot. Go on the inside. And Luke finally did that.
Yeah, I mean, I think that was key, getting the ball in the paint, either by dribble or Luke, who attacked the glass, and I think he had 8 rebounds in the game, 8 or 9, attacked the glass the second half, and was a bit of a factor. I wish Gorgie, he had no low post game whatsoever.
You're right, but I thought, and I'm glad Rick mentioned that, because there was no, you know, initiative to get the ball into the post. And I know Louisville is a team that is going to do, they're going to, whatever happens with Louisville, it's going to be because their guards played well, their guards played bad. They're a team that is led by their guards. But Shane Bohannon, I thought when he did get the ball in the post, had a couple of nice little face-up moves. Gorgie wasn't necessarily effective, but I think I'm comfortable with him getting the ball down there in the block, especially against a team like Wichita State. And I think he could have a good matchup, a good advantage against Michigan as well. I don't want, like I said, you don't want to go away from what got you there. Louisville's going to be led by their guards, but also if you've got guys like Shane Bohannon and Gorgie Zhang, let's throw in the ball a little bit.
And we're watching Montrezl Harrell. The guy, for minutes played, production per minutes played, it's hard to beat him. 11 minutes, he had 8 points.
Can't coach that stuff.
4 rebounds. I mean, yeah, in 11 minutes of action. I mean, the guy is just, he makes noise when he's in the game, and huge off the bench. Let's go to Joseph on the Oxmoor Ford Lincoln Buzz line.
Hello, how you doing?
Good, buddy. You're on.
Okay, I wanted to just say Louisville's going to go all the way with it, and Daniel Boone, his brother was the guy that did the first sermon in Louisville, Kentucky, and I think the girls are going to win too. I think it's going to be it's going to make history just like the Boones. I played Squire Boone up there at the Shelby County Park, and the Louisville's going to do it, and they're going to go all the way because they love each other. And when Ware got down and everything, there was so much love in that building that day, and they're going to go all the way.
I tell you what, and I'm with you on the chemistry on this team. And Nick, you covered the team all year. That's a key component of who they are right now. The brotherhood.
Oh yeah, that and. You know, it keeps happening each game. You see more and more of it, especially with a guy like Tim Henderson, who his teammates talked about all week. Kevin Ware, you know, nobody's going to come in and give us what Kevin Ware gave us, but Tim could come in and play, and that's exactly what he did.
He wasn't afraid to take the shot, as Rick said. I mean, he
was waiting for it.
Once he drilled the first one, the second one was going to be money, too.
Absolutely.
All right, 964-2121, give us a call. This is the Sunday Sports Buzz presented by livingforless.org.
Sports Buzz will return after these messages from our sponsor.
The Bluegrass Golf Tour Card. You get to play 8 great golf courses one time for one incredible price. A $450 value for only $149. That's less than $20 a round, and that includes the card. Get yours right now.
The landscape of sports radio has changed in a big way. 1450 The Sports Buzz has you covered with the best and most local and national programming in the Kentuckiana area. Mason and Myers in the morning, The Dan Patrick Show, The Afternoon Drive with Perrin Johnson and Trevor Kelsey, and Inside the Press Box with Nick Coffey, as well as the best high school coverage in the area. Get the best coverage in Kentucky and Southern Indiana with 1450 The Sports Buzz and 1450thesportsbuzz.com.
Smart shoppers, 'cause this is how you roll.
Get everything you need to make that old ride look new again at Smart Shoppers, the region's largest auto body supplier, providing you the full line of professional-grade materials at the best prices around. Paint like the pros with a full line of House of Color paint products, only at
Smart Shoppers, 'cause this is how you roll.
Hi, Joe here from Joe's OK Bayou. Sometimes a person's first visit here can be a little challenging on Cajun pronunciation.
I want some etouffee, crawdads.
What Bubba's trying to say is crawfish etouffee, one of our most popular Cajun dishes.
And some Creole and Piscante.
Here, Bubba's going to try some Creole and chicken sauce piquante due to their healthy ingredients.
I don't know what the heck I just ate, but it was good.
Hey, here at Joe's, you don't have to be able to pronounce it to like it. Joe's OK by you.
It's okay by me.
What does one course a month mean? Simple. As a full-time student, you take one course at a time. Complete your degree one step at a time. A manageable approach to learning. That's one course a month. That's Brown Mackie College. Classes start every month. When will you start? How about right now? Contact us at 1-877-CALL-BMC. 1-877-CALL-BMC. Brown Mackie College.
The Bluegrass Golf Tour Card. You get to play 8 great golf courses one time for one incredible price. A $450 value.
All right, please join me on 1450 with Mason and Myers in the morning, Tuesdays and Fridays, usually between 7 and 8. I'll call in a segment brought to you by InsureMax. Chad and Alan Hennessy, two great athletes in their own right. 479-4085. They'll take care of all your home life and auto needs. We thank them for sponsoring that segment on 1450. The Sports Buzz, and tomorrow on 1450, live from the Twin Peaks Hotel.
Twin Peaks Sports Bar.
Sports Bar. Twin Peaks Sports Bar in Atlanta from 3 to 6. Trevor Kelsey, Dugan Ryan, Matt Dennison, and Rashawn Myers broadcasting live from the site of the Final Four. And then our own Nick Coffey inside the press box will move to 6 to 7. And then a special post-game edition after the Cards cut down the nets. Join Nick Coffey.
I'm excited about that, and hopefully we'll wait till the one shining moment is over, and hopefully it'll be a Louisville one shining moment, and we'll go on everything up. So make sure you guys check that out. And tomorrow, if you're heading down to Atlanta bright and early in the morning, you can get out there. If you get there in time, head up to Twin Peaks Sports Bar, because the 1450 crew will be out there broadcasting live.
That's going to be crazy. It's going to be like those concerts they had. The crowd around the 1450 crew.
I'm happy to be here with
Dave
you, Greg.
Matthews tonight in New Orleans, but
I'm envious of it. I'm happy to be
Trevor
here with you, but I wish I was down there, man. It looks like a lot of fun with all those concerts and everything like you mentioned.
All right, we talked about Louisville winning the championship. They had their survive game. You expect them to play better. A lot of guys to play better, more efficiently. But they're playing a team in Michigan who had their survival game maybe against Kansas earlier in the year, earlier in the tournament. Team with NBA talent. What does Louisville have to do to beat Michigan?
They got to play Louisville basketball. They have to get back to what they did against Duke, and what they did against Colorado State. It just really dictated defensively. And one thing that I think will benefit Louisville, Rick, I think it was, who called in earlier, said he thinks that Louisville will have an easier time with Michigan than they did against Wichita State. I think Wichita State's a team that they need to throw a certain game plan together for them to be able to come out and pull off that upset and beat Louisville. But when it comes to Michigan, they're going to play their brand of basketball. And fortunately for Louisville, that's the way both teams play the same type of style. Both teams are very, very good with guards, but they also have productive post play. Mitch McGary is a guy who was at one time I think at one time he was ranked the #1 player in the country in his class. didn't have a great start to this year, but sure enough, he's playing for a championship tomorrow night, and he looks to be one of the best freshmen in the country. So Louisville just needs to get back to what they're doing. Leave this game on Saturday in the rearview mirror, because I think there was a lot of things that I watched that I'm thinking, regardless if they end up playing Michigan or Syracuse, if they play like this, they're not going to win.
And, you know, Michigan, throughout the year, I always looked at Michigan and thought of a great offense, not a great defensive team. Louisville is that great defensive team to go up against Michigan. Now, when you look at them, Burke had an off game the other night. You think he's going to be motivated to bounce back? Who does Louisville take away first? McGarry, Hardaway, Burke? Who is public enemy number one on Michigan for Louisville?
That's a great question, because they have the All-American Player of the Year. Trey Burke was the consensus National Player of the Year. I think he won the Wooden Award. So you'd like to say, you know, let's take him away, but that's a lot easier said than done. I think collectively, let McGarry have his own. Mm-hmm. Maybe don't let him get you a lot of offensive rebounds, because that's how he produces a lot of his points on the offensive glass. But I think collectively you've got to be able to slow down Michigan's guards. I think if you can limit them to getting open looks, the press is going to have to be effective, because Michigan is a team that I could easily see them choking the ball up a little bit and turning it over against the press. But at the same time, if they do beat the press, they're going to have a lot of open looks in transition, and they've got 4 or 5 guys. They can put 4 to 5 guys. 4, I should say, on the floor that at the same time they can knock it down lights out.
Well, I tell you what, and even if they do knock a couple down, they take it, maybe they beat the press a couple times. I'd still, even though they like to run, I want this thing up and down.
Absolutely.
I want it hectic. I want it Louisville basketball for 40 minutes. And I know, you know, Wichita State, they turned the heat up in the second half, almost barely in the nick of time. I'd want to see that more throughout the course of the game, and see if Michigan can withstand that type of pressure on a consistent basis.
And I think the start of this game is going to be so crucial, because Louisville didn't have a good start against Wichita State. They didn't have that aggressiveness, just didn't have that killer's instinct, look in their eye. Go back to that Duke game. Shea Mahanan scores the first 6 points of the game, gets 2 dunks. Same type of start against Colorado State, although Colorado State hung around early. You need a good start in this game, in my opinion, because I think that can go a long way.
Yeah, you know Louisville's going to make the run eventually. Let's go to the Big E up on the Oscar Ford Lincoln Buzz line. Big E.
Yes, sir.
All right, man. What you got? You're up.
Am I on?
Yes, you are.
I just wanted I had a comment about the Ladies game earlier. We was talking about the Lady Carls, and they just showed a lot of the same fortitude that the men team had displayed earlier last night. And another thing I thinking about, I guess somebody else will pick up on from a math guy, but anyway, I heard during the broadcast, it seemed like I might be wrong, but they said it's the first time a number 5 team had made it to the final championship game, and it's like Kevin Ware, you know.
I like it.
all the stars and moons that lined up for Lowell, and I was watching, you know, the comments of the men's team also. I think Gorgie had a good game against McCarty, and I'll get off here and see what they're going to say.
Hey, well, thanks a lot there, Big E. Hey, a 5 seed, it probably is the first time a 5 seed's made the women's final, because the women's game is dominated by 3 or 4 teams who every year, Connecticut, Tennessee, Stanford, Baylor, are always in it.
And with the men's team, you take the number 2 ranked team against, per se, the 12th or 13th ranked team. Not a whole lot of difference. Huge difference when it comes to the women's side. Yes, Louisville is the first 5 seed to make a championship game, and Rick Pitino tomorrow night, with a win, will be the first coach in college basketball history to ever win 2 national championships with 2 different schools. I first heard that stat last week and think, well, somebody has to have done that before. That can't be right. Sure enough, there's nobody that's ever done that. Rick Pitino getting in the Hall of Fame on Monday, basically putting his staple in college basketball if he can get the win tomorrow night.
The resurgence of Rick Pitino has been an amazing story. I think people nationally, Rick was never diminished in their eyes.
I agree with that.
I think 100%. It was only here in Louisville, and it was never diminished. I've been a big guy who said, hey, this is my guy.
I'm with you.
That Rick Pitino, even when it was out in the first round a couple years in a row, I'm like, Rick still got it.
Sure. No,
and he is proving he's at the top of his game right now, the top of his game. And it's been, what a story. He's the man.
Top dog, no doubt.
All right, let's go to one more caller. Jimmy.
Yeah, how y'all doing tonight?
Good.
Yeah, I just have a question. If Louisville does win it all next year, what players do you think would try to go to the NBA next season or this next month?
Nick, what do you think?
That's a good
question, Jimmy.
It's a great question. It's something that you haven't really given much thought to because you're caught up in the moment now, and hopefully they do get that national championship. I think that obviously, I said a month ago, the farther Louisville goes in the tournament, the more likely certain guys would go pro. They're as far as they can go now. They just have to win it all. So I think they're just like I said, they're as far as they can go. I think Gorgui Dieng, I think there's a chance he comes back because I do think there's 4 or 5 centers that could be drafted ahead of him, and he's not a 100% lock for the first round. But if I say I had to predict right now, I think he's gone. Russ Smith, there's a lot of people who kind of think that he's more on the side of coming back and returning. I hope he does. I hope Russ Smith played 10 more years, but I don't see how he would come back and improve his draft stock. Russ, I have a tough time thinking there's not 7 or 8 teams that when you get to the picks in the 20s that wouldn't take a chance on a guy like Russ Smith because of what he does, how he impacts both sides offensively and defensively. Shane Mahan, a lot of people think he might go pro. I don't think he should entertain the thought, but who knows? Stranger things have happened.
I think Russ, his stock may never be higher.
I agree.
Even though I hope he comes back. I think he's already an all-time great. It's Griff, and then Russ is right in the next level. Griff, of course, is here. Russ is in the next level with whoever else you want to talk about.
Throw Don Weed in there too. I'm with you.
Absolutely.
I said it last week, and I know we got to get to our break. I said it last week. I'm 25 years old. Russ Smith is the best player to play for Louisville in my lifetime.
Well, if he came back, he'd be a 2,000-point scorer.
One of 2 or 3 guys ever. Yeah.
Absolutely. Okay, taking your calls 964-2121. Give us a call. We'll be back in a moment. The Sunday Sports Buzz presented by LivingForLess.org.
Sports Buzz will return after these messages from our sponsors.
The Bluegrass Golf Tour Card. You get to play 8 great golf courses one time for one incredible price. A $450 value for only $149. That's less than $20 a round, and that includes the card. Get yours right now.
The landscape of sports radio has changed in a big way. 1450 The Sports Buzz has you covered with the best and most local and national programming in the Kentuckiana area. Mason and Myers in the morning, The Dan Patrick Show, The Afternoon Drive with Perrin Johnson and Trevor Kelsey, and Inside the Press Box with Nick Coffey, as well as the best high school coverage in the area. Get the best coverage in Kentucky and Southern Indiana with 1450 The Sports Buzz
and 1450thesportsbuzz.com.
When you look back on a lifetime, you remember the things that sometimes you may have felt like they did not make a great difference. And then you realize the legacy you have created is more than you ever imagined. However you want your legacy remembered, we can help. You'll be remembered and honored at Louisville's newest memorial park, Crosswater Gardens Cemetery and Memorial Park, helping people just like you display their legacy for generations.
The Bluegrass Golf Tour Card. You get to play 8 great golf courses one time for one incredible price. A $450 value for only $149. That's less than $20 a round, and that includes the card. Get yours right now.
We're back. Greg Brom and Nick Coffey. This segment brought to you by Higdon's Paint and Ladder. Over 300 ladders in stock. Extension ladders from 16 to 60 feet. Step ladders from 2 to 21 feet. Call them at 448-7907. You can tell I got to read that because I don't do any work around the house or anything. And I need their help.
But if you do, they're a new sponsor, and you make sure you guys check them out. Higdon's Paint and Ladders.
Absolutely, and we've been talking about Louisville, the men and the women both playing for the national title. It could be crazy. Please. I saw one couch burned yesterday, and I was like, come on, don't down the road. Yeah. I don't want to see couches burned.
I haven't seen that, but I'm not too surprised.
I just saw one. I think it was a UK fan did that just to make us look bad.
I'm sure.
Louisville fans know how to celebrate. Let's not get crazy. I say that, I'll probably have my car vandalized. But our number, 964-2121. Luke Hancock steps up huge. Tim Henderson, unlikely hero last night himself. Who is that guy, Nick Coffey, tomorrow night? Who is the hero, the guy who is going to have the game of his life like Luke Hancock? Who's going to do that Monday night?
I want to say that it's going to be Wayne Blackshear, but I think it's going to be Montrezl Harrell. I think his energy off the bench, I think he can come in and Michigan's a team like Louisville that is very, they rely on their guards, but I think Montrezl Harrell could come in and really give Michigan's front court some problems, not only with his, his ability to score around the rim, but I think him being able to run the floor and his overall energy will be, and I'm not sure if he's going to have 25 points and necessarily, I'm not sure if he can have a better game that he had against Syracuse in the Big East Championship, but overall, I think he's the guy that comes up big and is going to be a big factor. I do expect Peyton Siva and Russ Smith to bounce back and have maybe games that you would expect from them, but I think the one guy that's going to, off the bench, kind of like what Luke Hancock did yesterday, I think it's going to be Montrezl Harrell.
I'll tell you what, I think Siva will be better, a lot better tomorrow night, and probably play a very good game. Russ will take on the challenge of Trey Burke. He'll take it personally, want to prove something. I think Gorgui Dieng, I'm going to say Gorgui Dieng, not that he's coming off the bench, but he's a guy that had a bad game, that I think defensively, with McGarry in the middle, he'll step up defensively. Maybe he makes some passes. The old Magic Dieng comes back. And if he hits a couple of 15-footers, I think Dieng may be a double-double for him tomorrow night. And who's to say that Tim Henderson doesn't drain a couple of threes again? All right, let's go to the phone lines. Robert, you're up.
Yes, I'd like to say good luck, Cardinals, and I hope they win. And I think the guy that needs to come off the bench to prove a point tomorrow night is Wayne Blackshear, because I don't think he's really had an all-out season. I think he needs to step up and show his skills and game. And I think that they're playing with a chip on their shoulder from last season too. And I think Cardinals by 15.
You know what? I mean, you normally would say 15 is a big spread, but when Louisville wins, they win by, a lot of times, they win by 15. That's become a close game in the tournament. The paradigm has shifted, where if you're within 10 of Louisville, you're close to them. So I could see a possible game that is close for a while, but Louisville extends it near the end. But Wayne Blackshear, 9 minutes the other night. He seems like it's a token start right now. That's what it is to start Wayne. It's just so his confidence isn't totally crushed. But do you think, if he can give you anything, what will he give you?
Three-point shooting, if he gets open looks and knocks them down, because that's one thing he has done pretty well this year for the most part when he does get those looks. But Wayne Blackshear he never really got going this year consistently. It's been all about consistency for him this year. I think he's got a lot of talent. I think he's a the potential is still there for him.
Yeah,
he was hurt last year at times, and maybe that's still affecting it. I don't know. But Louisville's very fortunate that Luke Hancock's been able to come on late like he has, because Blackshear just really hasn't had it this year. I think a lot of fans expected with Kevin Ware going down that Blackshear would be the guy. I didn't necessarily expect him to be the guy that did it. I thought he would need to be. And I think it's kind of a scary thought, because I think if he does start delivering, then Louisville's even better.
Kevin Ware leapfrogged just past him in the rearview mirror throughout the season as far as explosiveness and where he stands in the pecking order. I don't see the motor. And maybe it's the fact there's too many other options on this team. If he's on a team where there's not as many offensive options to go to, he'll stand out a bit more. But to me, it just doesn't seem like he plays with the same ferocity as
not a lot of emotion.
As even Luke.
Sure.
Luke has an intensity and a presence.
That'll give you
Wayne blends too much.
It'll give you some swagger a little bit after they make a shot. As I was telling you during the break, Montrezl Harrell, if he dunks the ball, you're going to feel it. You're going to know he's there. He's going to bring the passion, the energy. And there's nothing wrong.
He's going to be a great player.
He is going to be. And there's nothing wrong if you're not that kind of guy that does that. But Wayne Blackshear get a breakaway dunk, and I'm sure he'd be excited. But it's the same kind of demeanor the next time down. Kind of like, not to get off, kind of reminds me of Alex Poitras for Kentucky, a guy who's got the skill, got the talent, but just the motor, like you mentioned, it's just not there consistently.
All right, let's go to Sam. Sam, you're up on the Oxmoor Ford Lincoln Buzz Line.
Hi, guys. How you doing?
Hey, doing good. Thanks for calling.
I'm here with Josh and Nathan. We're students of the University of Louisville. We weren't one of the lucky 700 to get to go to the game, but I wanted to ask you guys, did you hear the quote by Rick Pitino talking about Gorgui? He said he's a third-year student, but if he plays like this in the next game, he might be a fourth-year student. What do y'all think about that?
Well, you know what? I mean, the performance he had the other night did not help his NBA standing. I mean, there's a chance. I think there is a chance he comes back to Louisville just off of the few mediocre performances that I've seen.
And who knows if Rick's saying that for pure motivation because he said the same thing in the Big East tournament. But Gorgui Dieng, people think I'm crazy when I say this. I would not be surprised one bit if he came back, not because I think he needs that much more work to do, but he can improve. He can improve his draft stock. This is a draft that is very weak, but it's very heavy at his position. There's a lot of guys, Alex Len, Mason Plumlee. Those guys are going to get drafted ahead of Gorgui Dieng.
They got better offensive game. I mean, Gorgie's passing is huge for him, his shot blocking ability. Boy, he could use some work on some offensive moves.
And his age, in my opinion, is overblown because, yes, he is 23 years old, and you're judged on how many good years you've got left in the tank. But Gorgui Dieng's only been playing basketball for about 6 years, so although he's 23, potential is still through the roof with him.
All right, it might just be wishful thinking on our part.
Yeah, that's probably what it is.
as well. Our number, 964-2121, the Oxmoor Ford Lincoln Buzz line. You didn't answer the question. We asked the audience, sweep, split, or, God forbid, I don't even want to say it, an offer.
I've got to say sweep. I guess I have to. I think that a lot of people, not just Louisville fans, but I think nationwide, not necessarily Louisville is just an overwhelming favorite, but I think a lot of people expect them to be the champion. The women's team, on the other hand, I'm never going to doubt them. They keep playing. Jeff Walz keeps playing that under-roll card, and that's worked great with them. He's been able to motivate his team to come out and play as the underdog, and they've done it for the last 3 or 4 games. But they've got a tough task at hand taking on Gino Auriemma's UConn women's team. Baylor was the juggernaut, but outside of them, I think then it's UConn.
Yeah, the most likely scenario to me is probably a split, but I think the magic is there right now. It's in the air.
Oh yeah, it's there.
The magic dust has been sprinkled down. It's still floating around.
It's in Atlanta, New Orleans.
It's a sweep. It's a sweep. Shoni Schimmel, huge. On Tuesday night, Russ Smith, Gorgui Dieng, Peyton Siva, huge. On Monday night, sweep for the Cards. 964-2121. Give us a call. We want to hear from you. The Sunday Sports Buzz, presented by LivingForLess.org.
Sports Buzz will return after these messages from our sponsors.
The Bluegrass Golf Tour Card. You get to play 8 great golf courses one time for one incredible price. A $450 value for only $149. That's less than $20 a round, and that includes the card. Get yours right now.
Little Bo Peep wanted a car for keeps. She looked all around and got turned down. Then she met the fine folks here at Jim Brown Auto Sales.
Don't let the wool be pulled over your eyes. Come see my daddy's flock of cars, trucks, vans, and SUVs with down payments as low as $99. Visit us today on the web at www.JimBrownAutoSales.com. Who's your daddy?
¿Quién es su papá? Cha cha.
Hi, Joe here from Joe's OK Bayou. Sometimes a person's first visit here can be a little challenging on Cajun pronunciation.
I want some estouffee with crawdads.
What Bubba's trying to say is crawfish etouffee, one of our most popular Cajun dishes.
And some Creole and Piscante.
Here, Bubba's going to try some Creole and chicken sauce piquante due to their healthy ingredients.
I don't know what the heck I just ate, but it was good.
Hey, here at Joe's, you don't have to be able to pronounce it to like it. Joe's OK by you.
It's OK by me. Ohio Valley Wrestling, Saturdays at 12 noon, Wednesdays at 9 p.m. on ION 21.
The Bluegrass Golf Tour Card. You get to play 8 great golf courses one time for one incredible price. A $450 value for only $149. That's less than $20 a round, and that includes the card. Get yours right now.
All right, thanks for staying with us. Greg Brom, along with Nick Coffey, the host of Inside the Press Box on 1450 and the founder of theCardinalConnect.com. Tomorrow, Inside the Press Box, where from 6 to 7 before the big game, and then after the big game, Nick will be back on for a special post-game show. Also, tune in 3 to 6. Trevor Dugan, Matt Dennison, Rashawn Myers live from the Twin Peaks Sports Bar in Atlanta, the site of the Final Four. You're definitely going to want to tune in to get a little taste of the action down there in Atlanta. Before we get back to Louisville basketball, 2 title games. The next 2 nights are huge. I want to talk a little bit about Rutgers and the situation that happened with Mike Rice, the video, the firing of Rice, the resignation of the athletic director, and the legal counsel for Rutgers. The president should go too. I tell you what, I saw the video. When I saw the video, you look at that, you don't have to look at it for more than 15 seconds to know that guy has to go. And I've been saying it for a while about athletics, and I've played a lot of college athletics and
coached as well.
Yeah, exactly. That stuff's over the line. I don't care what era. I mean, you have to go way back to be in an era where you can do some of the things Mike Rice was doing. But in a few years, and it's almost going to be like right now, the athletic field in the team and that environment is becoming just like the workplace. And societal norms, things you can't do in society, you're not going to be able to do it all in the athletic field. And what Rice did, hitting guys you can't do. Throwing the ball, absolutely out of the question. I think it's getting to the point, even the language, the coaches and athletic sports teams, even the collegiate level, coaches are going to have to watch how they talk to players because it's bordering. If it's bordering on abusive, even in the language itself. If it gets personal at all in the language, I think the coaches are going to have to pull it back. You're going to get some players somewhere, they're going to start taping a coach, and that'll get a coach in trouble sometimes. So people in athletic business, I think, are going to have to watch themselves and act, Nick, like they would if they were on the sales force at a local business or in the office at a local business. That's how you're going to have to act, and you probably should act that way on an athletic team.
It's definitely changing. You're always going to have coaches that are going to cuss at players. That's just part of it. That's never going away. And the things that Mike Rice said to his players was just unacceptable. I've never heard anything like that. And a lot of people say, well, the biggest surprise I got from that is watching how those players reacted to getting the ball thrown at them and having those things said to them, because that led to a lot of people saying, well, this probably happens everywhere. This is just the first time we've seen it on video on national TV. I don't think that's the case. I think there is cussing. There's probably some intensity, getting up in somebody's face, chest to chest, but nothing like that.
See, I think the coaches in about a few years is getting, they're not even going to be able to do a lot of that stuff. I mean, as far as the cussing, if it's cussing about a situation, if you're cussing a person, it's a little bit different.
And saying the things that he said.
Exactly. I just think it's going that direction. It's going that direction. Yeah, he was over the line totally. Those players are in a position with zero power.
Absolutely.
You look at that's why they didn't react, because they know they can't do anything about it. It's almost like they're a prisoner of that situation, because they know the AD's not going. Nobody's going to do anything about it.
If they go to someone, the higher power, then they're looked at as if they're weak.
Absolutely. So don't say because they didn't react, they were fine with it. That doesn't mean they were fine with it because they didn't react. They've been conditioned as from repeated instances of this. It's wrong. The president should be fired. His press conference was a clown show.
It sounds like he may be on his way out.
It was terrible. And if I was he should be gone because he didn't ask to see the video. And the way he reacted to it.
And the fact that he admitted that at his press conference, that he didn't ask to see the video, which just that put the nail in the coffin for him.
Yeah, absolutely. So I think that they all should probably go at this point over at Rutgers. All right, let's go to the phone lines. Tony, you're up.
Yes. I was wondering how you would pair up against Ohio State against Louisville if Ohio State would have beat Wichita and they had to face Louisville.
Good question.
You know what? I think Louisville wins. I think Louisville wins that game against Ohio State. I think Wichita just, the Cinderella factor, I think did have a little bit to be to how close it was.
And Louisville playing the way they did, as badly as they did, that's not why. And Russ Smith missing 4 free throws isn't caused by what happened. That Kevin Ware's injury had nothing to do with that. But this was an absolute situation where Louisville could have come out and laid an egg and had a slip-up in the tournament because of all the distractions surrounding Kevin Ware's injury, playing against a team that you know, no matter how your coach wants to throw it at you, you know you're a better team than Wichita State. Had they gone up against Ohio State, who's a better team than Wichita State, in my opinion, regardless of the fact that they lost, that's a game where you know you're going to have to come out and execute.
Yeah.
I think the Wichita State game, give them credit because they played really well, but that's a game where you know that you have to lay an egg to lose, and they almost did
If I
that.
want to compare Louisville and Ohio State, and I don't know if Tony is maybe an Ohio State fan, Ohio State had a chance to take that game from Wichita State.
They did.
Wichita State was folding. They couldn't get it done at the end. Louisville was able to grab the game and win a very similar game to what Ohio State played against them. Before the break, let's go to Rob real quick. Rob, you're up.
Nick, Greg, how's it going, man?
Hey, doing good, man. Thanks for calling.
Yeah, getting by like with the Rutgers coach situation, you'd be surprised at how often that happens even at Division II, Division I level.
Throwing, I think I disagree. I mean, I don't think it's the only case out there, but throwing balls like that and striking, not touching and moving a guy, but actually physically striking them, I don't think it happens a whole lot.
Well, I mean, as an ex-college player and being around the game for multiple years, 10 to 12 years, you know what happens. And I'm not, you can disagree with me, but college players, they're there on scholarship, and some aren't there for full years. They're yearly scholarships, Division II,
yeah,
and they're there for a year. But you're looking at a case in Mike Rice's, that's very extreme. But cases in other situations aren't as extreme, but it still happens, and the players don't have a say in it. Like
I agree with you 100% on that.
Because they're there and they think that they don't want to lose their scholarship.
Absolutely,
some coaches put you on a year and put you on blast, and they'll send you packing.
Sure, on that, it happens. We're not saying that those kind of things don't happen, but to that extent is where I disagree that it's a common thing, particularly because of the things he was saying to his players. And there's professional athletes that play at the highest level that have come out and said that that this is not a common thing.
And I think while it's going to happen less and less because it's going to come to light more. And
Sure.
the athletic coaches, these organizations, they better get with it a little bit because it's going to be like the workplace, and it should probably be like the workplace in how you treat people.
Sure.
All right, let's go. We're going to get Derek on the other side of this break. The Sunday Sports Buzz presented by livingforless.org.
Sports Buzz will return after these messages from our sponsors.
Little Bo Peep wanted a car for keeps. She looked all around and got turned down. Then she met the fine folks here at Jim Brown Auto Sales.
Don't let the wool be pulled over your eyes. Come see my daddy's flock of cars, trucks, vans, and SUVs with down payments as low as $99. Visit us today on the web at www.jimbrownautoSales.com. Who's your daddy?
¿Quién es su papá? Cha cha.
Smart shoppers, 'cause this is how you roll. You love your car, it's your best friend. There's one thing that you know. Before you drive around in any city or town, you want to show her up, you know. Yeah, this is how you roll. That's what we're all about. Smart shoppers, 'cause this is how you roll.
From the streets of Philadelphia to a drive-thru near you, it's Rally's new Philly cheesesteak sub. Loaded up with authentic, juicy Philly steak. Then we pile it big with some kickin' grilled onions and hot, melted Swiss on a crunchy, toasted sub roll. Rally's new Philly cheesesteak sub. Just $1.99. An unreal price for the real taste of Philly. Rally's. Feast on.
This limited time offer is a real winner, so make sure you score one today.
It's like I'm drowning in credit card debt.
And it's jeopardizing my marriage.
I can't concentrate at work. My boss is noticing.
I don't know what my options are.
The Friends and Family Financial Network is a group of nonprofit agencies whose programs can help you lower your interest rates by up to 60%, reduce your credit card payments by up to 30%, and much more.
Finally, I'm on the road to financial wellness, and I couldn't have done it without help.
Our dream of living a debt-free life is now reality.
Get all the secrets from your favorite local restaurants, Sundays at 4 and weeknights at 6. And see them all in high definition on Insight Channel 916. Secrets of Louisville chefs on location at your favorite local hotspots. And Secrets Live at Sullivan University's Kitchen Theater. Secrets of Bluegrass chefs takes you across the state. And Fridays at 6, take your taste buds on vacation with Tim Laird's Secrets of Resort Chefs. It's all local, all positive TV, now in HD, only on Ion 21. Watch Secrets Sundays at 4 and weeknights at 6.
If you like our show every Sunday night, make sure you tune into 1450 throughout the week. Great lineup of Cards, Cats programming, as well as all the national sports guys with Dan Patrick, of course, our own Nick Coffey. So 1450, the Sports Buzz, and Nick is here with me tonight. We've only got a couple of minutes left. We want to get Angie and Alan on. So Angie, you got about 20 seconds. What do you got?
I want to give a shout out to the men and women's Cardinals, baby. We're going to the national championship. We're going to take it all. This is our year, the year of the bird. Let's go,
all right.
Cards.
Hey, Angie, I think it went off in here. Is she still on the air there? Okay, that went off. Let's go. Thank you. Yes, we're going to hold the L's up here in a second. Alan, you're up. If we got Alan, do we have Alan on the phone lines? Alan, are you up?
I know we've got just a short amount of time. Go Cards, men and women. It's going to be a sweep. And as far as Mike, your thing on Coach Rice, I think that was Woody Hayes reincarnated as a basketball coach.
Yeah, I tell you what, I don't know what's going through that guy. I mean, how do you even think that is okay? You saw what happens, and this is the way the culture has to change, in that the coach who whistle blew, fired. You know, they were going to sweep. It's a cover-up. That's what that is. It was a cover-up. And, yeah, there is a code of silence a bit, and that coach might have another agenda too, even Murdoch might, but it was brought to their attention, and they just tried to push it off. They tried to sweep it under the rug. They didn't look at the video. They didn't want to deal with it, and you won't be able to do that anymore.
No, and the strangest thing about the whole situation was the players afterwards, after he was fired, said that he was the nicest, coolest coach that they've had off the court. It was just, he was a lunatic in practice for some reason.
And you know what? And it's still, even if you're the greatest off the court, you do that the way he did it, you're gone.
Sure,
you're
absolutely.
gone, and you hate to see it, but that's
what
you hate to
happens.
see coaches take it that far, but that's way too much, and he should have been. It took 5 seconds to see that video. That guy has to go, and the AD had to go because he didn't fire the guy right away.
President will probably be on his way out soon.
He probably should be. Okay, do we have any other callers up, Derek? Yeah. Okay, let's bring on who we have. Derek, hey, you're back, buddy.
Yeah.
All right.
Nick Coffey. I want to say go Cards or do some work, baby. Go Cards, do work.
All right, man. Anybody else? We got 1 minute for well-wishers. Give us a shout right here. We've got Stepping Up Tomorrow. Nick Coffey. You had Montrezl Harrell with a huge game. I got Gorgie Zhang with a huge game. Russ Smith will have a huge game.
Hopefully everybody has a good game.
Peyton Siva is going to bounce back.
He has to. He
doesn't do it 2 games in a row.
Yeah, he does. He can't. If they want to win, he has to play better. He doesn't have to be the star. Doesn't have to be the best player on the floor, but he has to play better than he did last night.
Okay, over or under on Tim Henderson threes. Okay, over or under on Tim Henderson threes at 1.5.
I'm going under. I mean, I would love to see it. I'd love for him to get open look. He's shooting with a lot of confidence right now, but I don't see him.
He'll get one. Tim Henderson with 1 3 tomorrow. Cards beat Michigan. Lady Cards, they beat UConn. And then we'll be back to talk to you. Nick will be on after the game on 1450. We'll be back next Sunday at 11. Thanks for joining us. Sunday Sports Buzz presented by livingforless.org.